Visual algebra exercises allow learners to build an understanding of algebra concepts through what they can see and interact with. In this example, we have the shape of a vehicle in which we must use the available algebra components to describe. First, we select the most suitable components to fill the available area of the vehicle. So we can see that B fills in some larger amounts of space, and I'm just going to add 3 of the B components. I'm going to fit one of the A components into here, and I'm going to fit in one of the D components to fit as part of the window screen. And finally, for the wheels of the vehicle, I'm going to place 2 parts of the C components. So we can see here that the components placed onto the shape of the vehicle are now complete. The next step is to write the written maths description of the algebra components. We can see that there is 1A, so we type in A. We're going to add onto this the number of B elements. We can see that there are 3 B components, so we write in 3B. We're going to add onto this the number of C components, which we can see that 2 were used, so we type in 2C. And finally, we can see that 1 of the D components were used, so we type in plus D. The next part of the exercise is to describe each of the other components in relation to A. So for B, we can see that if we were to place A items onto the page, we can see that 2 A items fill the space of 1 B item. So we describe B as being 2A. So 2 A components are the equivalent of 1 B component. We will skip C for now and go straight to D. So we see if we were to place a D component over A, that D is the equivalent of half of an A component. When we want to halve something, we simply divide it by 2. Therefore, we describe D as being A divided by 2. So going back to C, we describe this as being in relation to A. So we take one of the A components and create a C component. We can see that the circle that is C fits within the square that is A. Therefore, we know that we can take the details of what we know about A and fit it into the geometry description that defines the area of a circle. A circle is described from its origin. This is the middle point of the circle. The size of the circle is described using the length from the origin to the outer perimeter, otherwise known as the circumference. This length is called the radius. First, the radius is used to create a square. We write this as radius squared. We complete the formula by breaking the square radius into a circle by applying the number pi. So with that recap of the formula to describe the area of a circle, we know that we have the area of A, which is a square, and that we must use this to backtrack to find the radius of the circle. We know that A is made from a square number. Therefore, the first step to backtrack is to go from a square number to the original number making the square. This is achieved by using the square root. Hence, the square root of A is the first part to write. The square root is the width and height of the circle, known as the diameter. We want the radius. We also know that the radius is half of the diameter. Therefore, we divide this number by 2. Now that we have the radius, the next step is to create the square. We simply take this result and square it. Now that we have the radius squared, we simply multiply it by pi. Now that we have a description of all of the components in relation to A, we can now describe the shape of the vehicle entirely in relation to A. The first step is to take our original description and place it as the first step of this answer. The next step is to replace each of the algebra components with their A equivalents. So we describe A as being A, obviously. We have 3 B components, so we write 3, and then inside a set of brackets, we simply place what we've written as A here. So that's going to be 2A. We have 2 C components. So we take this and we insert here, and inside brackets of the 2 C components, we write the description of C. And finally, we take our description of D, in which we have 1 D component. So therefore, we just have a set of brackets and insert the description of D. And here is how we describe the full area of the shape of the vehicle in relation to A. To make the algebra description more easy to understand, we will want to simplify it. This is achieved by expanding the brackets. Here we have an A, and we also want to expand the 3 times the 2A. This will give us 6A. We have the description of the circle, which we can expand this to become 2 times the pi, and then the description inside here. And finally, we have the remaining components, which is a half of A. And to simplify it further, we will add the A components together where possible. So the A plus 6A will give us 7A, and then the rest of here shall remain the same.